Is the Epstein-Barr virus responsible for triggering lupus? There's a really interesting study that's coming out of Stanford that says this might be true. So, this is a really interesting breakthrough in trying to understand what's happening with this autoimmune condition. So, lupus is that your immune system is attacking your DNA, right? Your body. It can damage your kidneys, it can damage your joints. It can make you have a butterfly rash. It can make you exhausted, makes your joints hurt. It's a crazy disease that's very, very difficult to manage. So, what we're finding is that these studies said that the Epstein Barr virus got into tons and tons and tons of B cells in people with lupus. Now, B cells are the part of your cells that make antibodies toward something, anything, any kind of virus or bacteria. It's like the educated part of your immune system, right? So, in a normal individual that doesn't have lupus, you will have one virus that has Epstein-Barr in it out of 10,000 B cells. Now, the people with lupus will have 1 out of 400. So they have a very high concentration of Epstein-Barr in their B cells. Now, this is really interesting because then the immune system, these active little Epstein-Barr viruses, it's like they put out wanted posters into your immune system. It says, hey, if you see this tissue, attack it. And if you see this tissue, attack it. So it revs up your immune system like your immune system's kind of been hijacked by this virus for susceptible individuals that are susceptible toward lupus. And now all of a sudden, your own immune system is attacking you. Now, when we find out that it's because of Epstein-Barr, it correlates to a lot of what my patients tell me in my office. Patients that have lupus say, hey, I had mono or I had some sickness where I was super exhausted. And after that, I was never the same. I didn't feel good. My joints hurt. I was exhausted. And the telltale sign is that they'll have a little butterfly rash right here. So if you get in the sun and you wind up with a little butterfly rash, just like red right here, sometimes you'll go to the doctor and they'll say that's probably rosacea, but it's really not the whole face. It's just like right here. They call it a butterfly rash, and it can go over the bridge of your nose. Now that can correlate to lupus. It doesn't mean you have lupus, but if you also have positive ANA markers that could go toward lupus, then we want to start paying attention to this, because this is the classic patient that comes into my office. They have positive ANA markers. They have some symptoms, but when it comes to actual full-blown lupus markers, they might not have that. So what you need to understand about your immune system is that it loads and grows, right? It can grow toward doing things when you have autoimmune conditions. And what we need to think about is, what are the things we have control over that can help our immune system to work better? We can sleep more. We can make sure we eat more of an anti-inflammatory, maybe autoimmune supportive kind of diet. Gluten and dairy can be big triggers on this. We can make sure we're having our vitamin D. We can take glutathione. We can make sure that we're eating healthy vegetables so that we can support our microbiome. We can have good, healthy relationships. We can exercise on a regular basis. Like, there's a lot of little levers that we have that can make our immune system drive down or make sure that your immune system is like stable and steady. Now, another big trigger that I see in my patients are people with prediabetes or diabetes. Your blood sugar is too high. Your inflammation is too high. It gets your immune system revving and it makes it worse. So what we want to think about with this whole thing from Stanford is we want to think about, what are the levers that we have control over and what do we not have control over? Now, if you have full-blown lupus and you're on medication, then other strategies, we want to think about other strategies that are like functional medicine strategies that we can kind of braid into that, right? What else can we put in? We can put in vitamin D. We can make sure you're sleeping. We can figure out, do you have any food triggers that are causing a problem? Do you have leaky gut? Are you not sleeping? How are your hormones? What's happening with that? Do we need to do some hormone replacement? Do we not? Did this trigger after you had a baby? I mean, there's so many things that we need to like figure out, is that we kind of go through and figure out all these different strategies so that we can get your immune system sort of like calm itself down. But now we have a better understanding about what could be the trigger for specifically lupus. So what we might want to think about, we might want to think about antiviral strategies. Okay. So let's say that, like, if you had lupus markers or you have positive ANA and you have a butterfly rash and you're like, ooh, I really don't want to develop lupus, but it kind of looks like I'm kind of in that zone or moving toward that. You want to think about, should you be on some antivirals all the time. Now, I'm not saying antivirals prescription. I'm saying things that are more antiviral in nature that it comes to with supplements and herbs. So Chinese skullcap is a good one. Japanese knotweed is a good one. Isatis is a good one. Glutathione, vitamin D. There's all sorts of different strategies you can do for maybe you take a supplement on the regular if you know that you have early lupus markers and you know that, oh my gosh, I don't want to tip myself over into my immune system going a little bit more crazy. So there's things that we have control over and things that we don't have control over. Now, I have some of my lupus patients will be on a medication that's a biologic or maybe an immune system modulator, which is super smart because lupus can be very destructive. I mean, it can damage your kidneys and you can really have some serious health effects from lupus, and it can make your joints hurt a lot and it can make you feel exhausted. There's so many symptoms that make lupus so terrible. But if we have an idea about a possible antiviral strategy that we could also put into this because of this study that they've done, amazing strategies. So we might want to run a blood work for, I mean, a blood work that may through Quest or LabCorp or something like that, because we're here in the US, I'm in California, but we might want to run something on like Epstein Barr markers. We want to look at things like IgG, but we want to look at IgM as well. IgM means that it's more active, right? There's more of an active something going on. Things that we also want to think about, we want to think about running a complement C3 and C4 to kind of understand if complement C3 and C4 are really, really high, that means that you are really actively fighting something. So maybe the viral load is high. Maybe you have other things going on too. Maybe you have periodontal disease with bacteria. Maybe you have strep throat, or maybe you have something in your tonsils. Maybe you get chronic sinus infections or you get chronic bronchial infections. See, these are all an overall load on your body so that it drains your immune system and your immune system gets exhausted. And then when you're run down, this Epstein Barr is like, no problem, I got it. I can take over. And it starts putting out wanted posters again saying, hey, this DNA of this person, you should attack it, right? And so then all of a sudden you get all this activity, and then you get a flare up of your disease, okay? So this is a big picture strategy. And I am certainly not going to give you a recipe of go out and just buy these herbs and start managing yourself. You need to talk to a functional medicine practitioner that understands autoimmunity and also can work and play nicely with any kind of rheumatology prescriptions that you might be taking. The immune system is complicated, but also not everybody has the same idea of how to manage you. And this is a complex condition. So you need lots of people looking and observing and making sure that you are managing your body properly. If you have prediabetes, we have to handle that. If you're eating junk food, we have to handle that. You can't be like eating gluten and dairy, not eating any vegetables and not getting any sleep and drinking a bunch of alcohol and then take herbs and be okay. These are all big picture, full body looks at how we're going to manage this. Now, I feel like there's a lot of antiviral herbs that could be very successful in helping somebody that might have this brewing so that we can back it off and maybe we can kind of stave off this full-blown condition. Maybe if we have somebody that's in a full-blown condition, maybe they're going to put them on antivirals. I'm not sure what's going to happen with medicine on how they're going to strategize this. I know that they're looking at doing an Epstein-Barr vaccine, which might not be an unreasonable strategy if you have this in your family or if you are worried that you're going to develop this. So this is really groundbreaking and very interesting. I'd say that work with your doctor or your healthcare practitioner to run labs and try to understand what's going on with you. If your vitamin D is at 20, you've got to get it up. We want it to be 70, 80, 90. We want your immune system to have all of the things necessary to fight appropriately and calm it down. But also, you have to really get your sleep. You have to be exercising. You have to watch your diet. We have to do everything. It's a multi-prong approach. It's very complex. Now, if you feel like you need some support, I do have an autoimmune shift program that's starting in the next 30 days that you can get yourself. There's a little self-paced video program that you can understand everything about autoimmunity that you need to know. And then I have an autoimmune support group happening on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific. But I also am going to have a whole lot of resources on labs you need to get and how to read those labs, food suggestions, supplement suggestion, helpful links, all these things that can help you understand, like, how do you approach this better? Because some of you are living in a place where you don't have support from a functional medicine person, or you can't afford it, which is really expensive. So there's lots of strategies that you could be doing right now. And I want you to be able to understand what those strategies are and be able to do them and implement them in your own home. Figure out what foods are triggering you, figure out how to best get yourself forward and move yourself forward and get your immune system calmed down, because this important information from Stanford is really going to be a game changer in trying to figure out how do we braid functional medicine and traditional medicine together and give the best response and the best result to our patients so that they're feeling better and that you feel empowered and you can get this situation under control. I hope this helps.